According to the most recent report from the BC Coroner's Service, the Northern Health Region is seeing 44 overdose deaths per 100,000 people. That's the highest rate in the province, and it's well above the average rate of 31 per 100,000. The Fort St. John RCMP say they're doing what they can to get drugs off the streets.
Fort St. John has a dedicated 3-person drug unit, which works solely on drug investigations. And in 2020, thus far, we have had 159 possession and trafficking charges, with 30 criminal charges coming out of that.
Inspector Hansen adds that it's impossible for people to know exactly what they're getting. He says the majority of street drugs currently circulating are cut heavily with fentanyl or a fentanyl analog. When a drug bust is announced, it tends to come across as good news. But Chelsea Mackay, project coordinator for the Community Opioid Action Team, says it's not that simple for people with a substance use disorder.
If that supply gets taken away from them, then suddenly there's a bunch of unknowns. So it actually means that people with addictions have to sort of roll the dice and play Russian roulette with their next drug source.
So then what's the solution? Well, according to Mackay, the government needs to consider decriminalizing small amounts of drugs for personal use.
If they feel like they can't tell anyone, because someone might call the cops on them, then they're really at risk of overdosing.
Mackay pointed to Portugal as an example of how decriminalization can result in lower rates of crime, HIV transmission, and lower rates of OD deaths. The state of Oregon has also recently decriminalized the possession of small quantities of drugs.
We see that as a sign of hope that things are changing and people are listening to research.
For now, BC is seeing roughly 133 overdose deaths per month, the highest all-time average for a province already dealing with a surge in COVID-19 cases. Austin Lee, CJDC-TV News, Fort St. John.
Salon and barber services provided by Skinovations. Be swept away to a world of peace and tranquility at Skinovations Salon and Day Spa.